This is a verse that Charles and I chose as the theme for our time during itineration. It's meaningful for us, and we feel like it's appropriate for the people that we're working with in Zambia also. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Isaiah 43:18 through 19.
Hi, I'm Charles.
And I'm Melissa.
We're sorry we can't be with you in person, but we'd like to share about our work and life in Zambia. We currently live in Lundazi in the eastern province of Zambia, where we serve as PCUSA mission co-workers in partnership with the Church of Central Africa Presbyterian Synod of Zambia. Everyone in Zambia is a farmer. No matter one's profession, they have a plot, maybe big, maybe small, planted mostly with maize or corn to feed themselves and their family. Charity Manda is one of these subsistence farmers. We first met Charity just after we arrived in Lundazi when she met us at the end of our driveway. She came to greet us and asked if we had any work for her. Melissa and I had discussed having a house worker, but hadn't decided if we would. It wasn't something we'd done when living in the U.S. But after some time and a rigorous interview process, we hired Charity. We soon learned she is a widow, raising her own children and grandchildren. In a place where unemployment is high, providing a job for someone is an act of compassion, and we're happy to be able to provide a job for Charity so she is better able to care for her family. In addition to working for us, Charity is a subsistence farmer. Nearly every square inch of land surrounding Charity's rented house is planted with some type of food crop: sweet potatoes, beans, maize, and greens. She has also planted a garden at our house, which we share with her. We have water to irrigate, and she doesn't. Like Charity, most smallholder farmers in Zambia farm to survive. There are different definitions for smallholder farmers, but in the Zambian context, a smallholder farmer farms approximately 2.5 acres or less. All family members, including children, are involved in farming activities, and it isn't unusual to see children in their school uniforms walking home from school with a djembe or hoe on their shoulder, headed to the family's field to work. In this photo, men from Chisefu are planting maize. Year in and year out, a family farms the same plot of land, and over time the soil is depleted of its nutrients, with lower and lower yields realized, meaning less food for the family. As the yields decline, so do their hopes for having a surplus to sell for additional income. One common practice in sub-Saharan Africa, which is detrimental to soil nutrition, is the burning of crop residue after harvest, preventing this organic matter from returning to the soil. Signs such as the one seen here have been placed around the perimeter of the farm at Chisefu to generate discussion with local villagers about this harmful practice. Sustainable agriculture is an approach to farming which seeks to address food security while working to protect the environment, improving profitability, and striving for social and economic equity. In other words, meeting the food needs of society without adversely affecting the ability of those who will follow us in the future. At Chisefu, as part of our partner church's holistic ministry, we are working in partnership with the Church of Central Africa, Presbyterian Synod of Zambia, to provide education in sustainable agriculture using appropriate technology. Appropriate technology can be divided into two categories. We call those appropriate soft technology and appropriate hard technology. Think of it in terms of data processing. Computer equipment is the hardware, while programs are the software. Similarly, appropriate hard technology refers to the tools and equipment used, while appropriate soft technology refers to the methods or ideas. This short video demonstrating a hand-cranked maize sheller shows an example of appropriate hard technology.
Let Reverend Yoronga try it. You need like an athletic cup to keep for the cob from hurting you. Yeah. But careful. Till it gets started and then it will pull it down.
Yeah. Harvesting maize by hand, as seen here, is an example of appropriate soft technology. Here's another example of appropriate hard technology, a borehole with a hand pump. In this photo, we're repairing the pump after it quit working during dry season. We replaced a cracked cylinder and added 3 joints of pipe to the pump to drop the cylinder below the water table. At Chisefu, I work in partnership with the Church of Central Africa Presbyterian Synod of Zambia to improve agriculture in 3 distinct ways. One of my duties is serving as a lecturer on the faculty of Chisefu Theological College, where I teach courses in sustainable agriculture. The purpose of these courses is twofold. The first is to equip future pastors to be able to grow food for their own families once they graduate and go to a village to serve a congregation. There are many challenges for those serving as pastors in Zambia. Many serve in remote areas working for very little pay. By teaching them improved methods in sustainable agriculture, these pastors can better care for their own families. The second benefit of receiving training in sustainable agriculture is the ability to share their knowledge with members of their congregation and village. Sometimes when I'm teaching, I wonder if the message is getting through to the students, given the cultural and language differences. I've been told I have an accent. But I was recently pleased to receive a text message from one of my students, Billy Msambala, inquiring about a topic we discussed in class, testing the moisture content of maize. Billy is a student on the left holding the stick with the puff adder hanging from it. Aflatoxin is a carcinogen which occurs in maize worldwide, but is especially problematic in Africa. The fungus, Aspergillus flavus, can grow and produce aflatoxin both pre-harvest and post-harvest. One way to reduce the likelihood of aflatoxin post-harvest is to ensure the crop's moisture content is at 12% or below. While there is automated equipment to check moisture content in grain, it isn't available at the village level. In class, we discussed a method using appropriate technology to test for moisture content using a jar and salt. To check moisture content in maize, one puts a tablespoon of dry salt and 2 cups of maize into a glass jar. The jar is sealed with a good lid and shaken and allowed to sit overnight. The next day, the jar is shaken again, and if the salt sticks to the sides of the jar, the moisture content is still too high. If the salt settles to the bottom of the jar, it is dry enough to store. Billy was about to harvest maize, and he remembered talking about this method, so he contacted me. He used it, and later told me his maize was dry enough to bag and store. He'll remember this and share with others. A prayer request for the seminary at Chisefu is for the completion of a new 1x4 classroom block. Currently, classes are held in a classroom borrowed from the Chisefu Primary School. The seminary is currently working to become affiliated with Justo Mwali University in Lusaka, and having such a classroom structure would facilitate this effort, not to mention providing a better learning environment for seminary students. Please join us in praying that this building will be completed in the near future. My work also includes facilitating the work of Chisefu Agricultural Income Generating Activity, known by its acronym AIGA. At the AIGA, we are farming to generate funds to supplement the financial needs of the seminary and the model farm. There is a high level of poverty in rural Zambia, and petty theft is common. As we invest labor and funds in our agricultural work in Chisefu, security is a concern. Please join us as we pray for the resources to construct a security watchman's house on the site of the Chisefu AIGA and Chisefu Model Farm. While the AIGA will employ sustainable agricultural methods, it will also use more modern techniques with regard to equipment and other methods as funds are available in order to maximize income. In this photo, we've plotted the land which will be available to the AIGA in the 2017-2018 season using a GPS app on my iPhone and inputting those coordinates into Google Maps satellite view. Additional land has been cleared, and the AIGA will have approximately 10 acres available next season. More land will be cleared each year, and in time the AIGA will have 21 acres at this location. Agricultural storage is in short supply in Zambia, and most farmers must sell their crops at harvest time when market prices are low. Having a proper storage facility at Chisefu AIGA and Chisefu Model Farm would allow the crops grown there to be stored and sold at a later time when prices are better. In addition, such a facility would provide secure storage for tools, equipment, and agricultural inputs. Please join us as we pray for the resources to construct an agricultural storage facility. Chisefu Model Farm is being developed by CCAP Zambia to offer training courses to Zambian smallholders on topics related to sustainable agriculture. Another function of the model farm is to raise food crops for the students at the seminary. Although the model farm is in its infancy, the Synod's vision is that one day week-long courses will be offered on topics such as conservation farming, natural livestock systems, aquaculture, and other pertinent topics. Charity and other Zambian subsistence farmers like her may, over time, learn new methods to help them restore the soil found on their plots through the use of composting, crop rotation, intercropping, and other appropriate technologies at their disposal. As the soil is restored, it is hoped the yields improve so families can make it through the hunger season, that period during the year when food from the prior year's harvest has been exhausted, but this year's harvest is still a few months away. The sign in this photo, written in Chitumbuka, tells about the neem tree. The leaves of the neem tree can be used to make an organic bioinsecticide. Other prayer requests for the farming operations at Chisefu include operating funds for the 2017-2018 growing season for Chisefu AIGA and Chisefu Model Farm. To learn more about helping with these and other needs, contact me. In May, we hosted a short-term mission team from our home presbytery in Texas, Mission Presbytery. After spending the week seeing and learning about the holistic ministry of our partner church, one of the group leaders, Reverend Kren van Tottenhove, remarked, "I've visited a number of countries which were called developing countries, but this is the first time I've actually witnessed the work of a developing country and how it is impacting individuals and their families at the local level." Kren was so moved by CCAP Zambia's Shallow Wells program. After returning home to San Antonio, he set about raising funds to provide 2 of these wells for villages. In the photo shown here, our friend Patty Clark tries to balance a bucket of water on her head at one of the shallow wells to understand the difficulties faced by Zambian women and children who must carry water for great distances. Kren, Patty, and our other visitors saw the holistic ministry of CCAP Zambia at work. In addition to agriculture and clean water, another ministry of CCAP Zambia is its health department, where Melissa is partnering with the church.
It was a beautiful September day, and we were sitting under the shade of a big mango tree in Palaza, a community close to the border of Malawi in far eastern Zambia. I was nervous sitting in front of the group of community members, men together on my left and women on my right, and the community leaders, village headmen, and pastors sitting next to me and my co-worker, Mr. Walima, CCAP Health Department Coordinator. Mr. Walima was also new in his position, having just been appointed the month before. He suggested that I should talk, and he would be my interpreter. I think he was a little nervous too. It was my first time to speak to a group about my still unofficial role with the CCAP Health Department, and despite 6 months of attempting to learn the local language, I was completely unable to speak more than a greeting in Chitumbuka. We were in Palaza to learn about the community's needs for a new rural health center. The people that were gathered under the mango trees that day are members of the Community Health Committee that was formed in 2013 when CCAP's Synod of Zambia made the decision to construct a new health center in Palaza. There was an undeniable excitement among those gathered under the trees, excitement that we had come bringing good news that their long wait was almost over. The community had made over 70,000 hand-molded baked bricks and collected gravel and sand for the foundation in 2013 in the hope of a new health center being built. They are still waiting. They told stories of women having babies on the road on the way to the closest maternity center 20 kilometers away. They talked of children dying from malaria and other preventable diseases because the clinic is so very far away and transportation was unavailable or unaffordable. The faith and hope that this community has that God and the church will provide them with a new thing, an answer to their prayers of improved health care, is truly remarkable. After the meeting, we walked 2 kilometers down the dusty road, past the cemetery where many in their community are buried, to the site where they had made the bricks. It was heartbreaking to see so many of the bricks they had worked so hard to make being ruined by weather during the long period of waiting. There is no anger or resentment because they had been waiting so long. Instead, there is hope. Hope that the church and God will soon bring them out of this period of waiting. They are sure that God is making a way, and they have hope for a new beginning of improved health care in their community. When we arrived in Zambia, I did not have a role with our partner, Church of Central Africa Presbyterian, Synod of Zambia, and was in a time of discernment. We regularly attend our local congregation, David McConaughey, which we are standing in front of in this picture. We have preached and danced and sang. We also became members of the Madodana, or Christian Men's Guild, and the Umanyano, or Christian Women's Guild, the Zambian version of PW. My prayer request before we arrived in Zambia, and for quite a while after, was for patience for me to see where God already knew He wanted me to be. I am grateful that I am patient and waited for God to do a new thing in me. And so many here in Zambia are also grateful that I said yes to their request to serve in the health department. The department was active many years ago, but has been dormant since the building and opening of the rural health centers at Daiwala in 2003 and Egachikini in 2011. My co-worker, Richard Walima, has said that what was once dead is now alive when he talks about the partnership with Peace USA and our work together. Part of my job is to help empower him to feel confident in his role as coordinator and to truly understand what it means to work in partnership. Little by little, I see the understanding of partnership starting to grow. One of the first priorities when we started our work in the department was to have a place to work, an office. Mr. Walima contacted the CCAP Synod leadership to get approval to use an office in the church building. Together, we were able to clean and paint the office, repair the windows, and hang curtains. He has been doing many things out of his own pocket to improve our office, like paying for painting and finding furniture. He is very proud of the office we have created together using our own resources. This is a very small example of how we are building relationship and working together in partnership. As Mr. Malima and I continued to try to learn as much as we could about the needs of the community that CCAP serves, we went to a lot of local stakeholder meetings. We also visited our 2 clinic sites in Daiwala and Egachikini. I hope this map helps you visualize where things are. Our home is in the middle, Chisefu and Egachikini to the north, Palaza southeast, and Daiwala to the south. Not long after our visit to Palaza, we traveled to Egachikini Rural Health Center to meet the staff, Samui Ngundi, the in-charge officer and nurse who provides all the medical care, and the environmental health technician, Kafula Sampa, whose job is to work in the community to improve the living conditions through health education. Egachikini Rural Health Center is located in Egachikini, a rural community in Eastern Province that was built by CCAP in partnership with the Zambian Ministry of Health and PCUSA in 2011. The population of their catchment area is over 7,400 people and is comprised of over 50 villages. We found Ngundi and Sampa and the entire Community Health Committee waiting for us when we arrived that day. There were hundreds of women and children at the clinic that day because the government's rubella vaccination campaign was underway. But despite the busyness of the day, Ngundi, Sampa, and the Community Health Committee members took time to meet with us and talk about the successes and challenges at Egachikini. The clinic provides basic health services that includes maternal care, antenatal, which is prenatal care, labor and delivery, and postnatal care. They also provide male circumcision, HIV testing and counseling, and child growth and monitoring. They also work outside the clinic in the approximately 50 villages to provide sensitization and education about malaria prevention and treatment, nutrition. They provide cooking demonstrations and teach about sanitation issues. Malaria is a major challenge facing the community, with confirmed cases rising as high as 1,400 in a month during the peak of the malaria season. The clinic has insufficient rapid test kits and medications in the best of times, but during the worst, their resources can be completely depleted. One of the greatest successes that they described was the amazingly low rate of maternal deaths. Only 1 maternal death in over 1,000 births since 2013 when Mr. Ngundi arrived. This is truly incredible given the setting and the resources available. The community really loves Mr. Ngundi and the care that he provides, and the women truly trust him to provide a safe delivery for them and their babies. This trust is evidenced by the constantly changing group of pregnant women and their moms and aunts who travel as far as 15 kilometers to hang out at the mother care shelter waiting to go into labor. The mother care shelter is the part of the clinic where the women stay as they wait to go into labor. During my last visit to the clinic, I met these 3 young women, Charity Peary, Shelley Bota, and Angela Tio. Charity is 20 and unmarried. Shelley is 17 and Angela is 19, and they are both married. Shelley and Angela are lucky. Their husbands have allowed them to come to the mother care shelter because frequently this doesn't happen. Charity, Shelley, and Angela know they can't wait to go into labor before they travel because the challenge of transportation is a main cause of delivery complications. These women come to the clinic despite the terrible conditions that include no beds and dirty mattresses, and the overcrowded conditions as a result of the unfinished mother care shelter. God has such an amazing way of putting you right where you need to be. And in April, I was in Egachikini with mission coworker Luda Garbot-Welch for a community health evangelism meeting to talk to the community members who had recently gone through training. Community health evangelism, or CHE, is a Christ-centered educational model that focuses on both the physical and spiritual needs of the community. The main goals of CHE is to equip communities with the knowledge and resources they need to address health and spiritual problems. During the meeting, Reverend Narongo, one of the CHE facilitators and the pastor at Egachikini congregation, in addition to his work at the Tshefu Model Farm with Charles, received a call that we were needed at the clinic for a meeting. So we hopped on his motorbike and headed to the clinic. Mr. Ngundi had applied for membership into the Church Health Association of Zambia, or CHAZ, and the CHAZ site inspectors were at the clinic. They needed to know if the clinic was really a part of the church, because church affiliation is a requirement for membership. Membership in CHAZ will provide medications and test kits for both malaria and HIV/AIDS, as well as mosquito nets and staff trainings. If we had not been there to answer their questions that day that pertain to the relationship between CCAP and the clinic's application would very likely not have received any further consideration. Reverend Narongo and I were both grateful that God had put us in exactly the right place at exactly the right time that day. I would ask you to keep the CCAP Health Department, the 2 clinics in Egachikini and Daiwala, and the Palazza community in your prayers. There are so many unmet needs. I know, and they know, that God is truly doing a new thing through the partnership of CCAP and PCUSA, and they are not dwelling on the past, but looking forward with hope towards the future. We would love for you to join us in that partnership. Some prayer requests include new and improved infrastructures, like the new facility at Palazza, or maternity wards and mother care shelters at Daiwala and Egachikini. Transportation in the form of motorbikes, ambulances, and bicycles to help medical care reach into the large catchment areas of the clinics, and much-needed beds, mattresses, and other medical equipment, and funds for educational programs to improve the level of health education and help prevent diseases. Our partner, CCAP Zambia, through their holistic ministry, is working to help strengthen the capacity of all Zambians to ensure that they have food security, a quality education, appropriate health care, and a safe environment. The way PCUSA does mission is in partnership, and we hope that you can see that in our work with CCAP. When we arrived in Lundazi, our first and most important job was to learn, and we still have a lot to learn. We have started building relationships in Zambia and working alongside our partner for the glory of God. We would love for you to be our partner too. One of the ways you can be a part of God's mission in Zambia is to learn about Zambia. Some of our friends and family send us cards and letters, and I cannot tell you how exciting it is to open the mailbox and find a card from someone telling us that they are praying for us. You can also follow us on social media and sign up for our newsletter to keep up with what we're doing and to learn about the lives of the people we are living and working with. We have provided sign-up sheets so that you can receive our newsletter and be on our mailing list. With the new spam laws, it's important that you sign up so we can keep in touch. You should also have some flyers with all of our social media links, email addresses, and mailing address in Lundazi, and some facts about Zambia to get you started learning about our new home. We would also invite you to consider supporting our work, individually or as a congregation, and to make our support a part of your budget for each year of our term. God has called us to serve, and we are asking you to come alongside us. We covet your prayers, but just as importantly, we need your financial support.
The average annual cost of support for couples working in team mission is $138,000. No, that's not our salary, which is just a portion of that amount. Other expenses are insurance and pension benefits, housing, language study, travel, communication allowance, Presbyterian Mission Agency support services, Presbyterian World Mission co-worker care and support, and other miscellaneous costs. It is important to remember our partner church didn't ask for money. It requested Peace USA mission co-workers to walk alongside them in service to God's mission.
We are confident that with your prayers and support, we'll be able to continue walking hand in hand with our Zambian brothers and sisters as we follow Christ together. If you have questions, please feel free to send us an email. We would love to continue the discussion about how God is at work in Zambia. We hope you've learned a little about how Peace USA does mission in partnership. Will you join us in this partnership and come alongside us as we continue to answer God's call to serve the people of Zambia?